Welcome back to Zane's Mobile. Today we're going to get started on a commander overview of Haldir. He is one of my favorite tier 1 commanders in the game. He's not the best, but he is top 3. But he's the one that I invested my heart and soul into. So a little bit of a biased opinion here, but we'll get right into it. So Haldir is a tier 1 commander. So very easy to upgrade. He's a solid. He's top 3 of the tier 1 commanders that you could get. He's one of the best 3 that you could work for. His balanced, very nice, good stats, good skills across the board. His speed stat is important. His might stat, all his stats are kind of important, so it's good that he's balanced. They all kind of play a role. His might stat is pretty good. You could get to 300 if you do might. His focus gets about 250. And then his speed will get about 350 depending on the equipment and stuff. So good stats across the board. Nothing crazy like 400, 500, but good healthy stats across the board. The first thing you're going to need if you're going to upgrade a Haldir though is you're going to need his chest piece. You don't need it, but his chest piece is very good. His unique accessory. I mean, you could always just go with hunter skin and get defense and focus, or just go with more speed with the scout mail. But when you unlock it, it doesn't require much. You could leave it at tier 1. Don't put anything into it. I'm not putting anything into it because there's no benefit from it, right? As long as you get that elves gain initiative, and they'll gain initiative on anything, on any land tile. All elves will have initiative, and refining it will give it its defense bonus. But I only got mine to 15 because I feel like any more than that, I'm just okay. I'm good. I'm not going to put more. I'm going to save my materials for other commanders. I really don't need it any higher. Okay, and the defense bonus is only granted to you when you're on forced tiles, so it's really not that important. As long as you gain initiative all the time, I don't care. So the accessory items that I'm going to have on Haldir are going to be a Markwood bow. You're going to have a trapper's hood. If you're fighting evil, I would go for a madness immunity horseman helm. But if you're fighting good faction more often, this helmet would do you just fine. And then I have a weird one on him. I have Lothorian belt. It increases the speed of his range units. It gives him some focus, gives the commander some much needed speed, which I can't wait until I get more accessory items for it, because that speed is really good. Because I'll show you why you want his speed high. Okay. So, and he's great with any faction. Okay. You don't need a special tier 4 unit to make him good. It only makes him better. Okay, let's go look at his skills. So his skills are... So I'm not going to go into every skill, but I'm going to just tell you the ones you don't pick. Ones you don't pick is, unless you're fighting, you could use Foresight, but if you need Foresight because you're fighting a lot of evasion, I would just recommend just throwing on a harp and then switch it to an invasion harp, right? Or do you just, switch it to an invasion harp and just avoid that. But I think I like his speed more because I'm not running in too much evasion. But his first 2 rounds are important, so a lot of people might consider having a harp over that. So there's a possibility. Get pursuit and an equipment, not in that skill. It's just 7 points you don't need. So let's get right back to his skills set now that we went over his foresight. The first skill you're going to upgrade on him would be Guide. 45% damage with stun immunity for the first 2 rounds. Very useful. I like it a lot. Very good skill. The second skill you're going to put a point into is March Warden of Lorien. And basically you're not doing it for the damage. You're putting 1 point in to get 3 evasion points. So on round 3, you'll get an invasion. On round 6, you'll get an invasion. On round 8, you will grant another unit invasion. So very useful. Don't put any points into elite. If you want commander damage, you could, but Cold the Weak is one of the weaker damaging skills. So I wouldn't recommend it. So this is all you do for now. And then you do max out Armed Escort if you have the extra points, which I will because I have them at a high respect level, which I will put points into. Okay. Now, the next one you're going to use is this one. The reason why you're going to use it is because it increases his physical damage by 70 and increases his poison damage by 70, and then it lasts for 2 rounds. The reason why I say you do this as your damage tree is because you have access to a much better skill down there, and also up here if you do have birds. If you have birds, this is a very powerful skill. If you have eagles, it's much more stronger than this because this is only getting you 16% damage increase. This is giving your normal attack about 6 to 7,000 damage for your normal attack. So you'll hit for about 4k. Poison will be about 15 to 2k, depending on your focus. And then when that unit you normal attacked hits, before they hit, they'll take another 1,000 to 2,000 poison. So you're looking at about a 6 to 8,000, depending on your stats, damage, which is great. That's like if your commander is hitting for 6,000 damage each round. I have Ironfoot who hits for about 6 to 7,000 damage. So it gives your commander a lot more damage. And then you have access to forced agility. I wish he had Elven Leader because it'll give him a 25% chance, but I guess a 20% chance is still okay. I like it. It's definitely worth it, especially if it activates on one of those 2 beginning rounds. It's very strong. And the last important skill is Grandhiram. It's Grandhiram. I don't know how to pronounce it. Allied, your range units will be plus 18% damage, modified by his speed stat. So that's what I'm saying. The speed stat is important. It's very useful. It will be right around 35 to 40% if you have everything put into speed, but you're looking at a 35% at max level. Damage bonus for your archers for the entire game. Very useful. I love it. And then the next one you're going to put points into. I don't like Fortify. You can do Fortify if you're finding yourself fighting good faction and you just want to defend your units while you're reinforcing. Like, he's a good choice for that. But I do find myself putting more points into shield training because what he's good at is doing just as much damage as he takes because he's running all these elf units. He only has right around 250,000 HP and he'll be dealing that amount of damage. So he's very good at doing that for sure. So let's get right into... So that's how I have him skilled right now. Obviously, there's different builds. If you have Eagles, this is preferable. I do like Armed Escort a lot. I will be putting points into that, and that's the only skill that's modified by his focus stat, besides the poison damage he'll be doing. You could always go with, instead of reducing your archer's damage, which I will have my archers taking 20% damage after that skill and after this is fully upgraded, which is nice. You could also put the points into his poison on the helmet as well. If you go to the items and you go to his helmet, let's see, go to Trapper's Hood, you go to his helmet. Poison damage dealt is increased by 14%. I don't like it. It's not very useful, and I wouldn't do Madness either. You could if you want, but it's fine. It could pair well, I guess, with the evasion and granting Madness. Who knows? I personally, I don't like it. There's different choices. You could use the Markwood bow. I think that's obviously the best because it buffs his speed and might and range again. So it's kind of a no-brainer. But there are other options. Like right now, I do have these helmets unlocked, Hunter's Guide, that I could throw on him, but I'm not going to because I just feel like their special abilities don't benefit him that much. Because the Stone of Madness is just, you don't need it. Last Resort, I would like down a Damage Commander, but I don't think that's going to happen. Damage Received, no, I'm okay. Yeah, you don't need it. You guys don't need this. Gets all enemies a chance to inflict madness. I mean, that's kind of nice. Anyways, yeah, so that's his build. Let's go into his Battle of Pulse results real quick. Sorry, we're getting our asses kicked this season by the dwarves. There we go. So yeah, he does pretty good. His archer units are preferably the best. You want Sentinels, but I don't think you want Sentinels with Rise Up. I have Sentinels with Rise Up mainly because the commanders I have this season are damage commanders, and that just does extra damage for the commanders in the army. So you could definitely run Sentinels, and since he already gives it, you could run Sentinels with Sharpshooters. You could run Sentinels with the Dwarven Axe units because they'll gain a 20% chance to attack twice, as well as gain damage in the first place from this other skill. And then as your last race, for your front line, you could do anything for your front line. So you could do another rise up. So what I'm going to try this season is I'm going to have the Cavaliers do rise up, as well as my archer units do rise up, and then I'll have the dwarven range units, the axe throwers, with their ability, and they're going to have post strike response, or just first 3 rounds take less damage, one or the other. That's what I'm preferably going to do, and that's a 30% damage for the army. It'll make my army very bursty. So definitely, he's definitely a good commander. He's definitely top 3. Dwalin, I would say, is probably better. Eowyn, she's good. She would be better, but and then Faramir did go up the list, but he requires a lot more upgrading than Haldir. Haldir, you just need to get his equipment, and even then, you don't even need it for him to be pretty good, because there's all sorts of equipment you could have for him. I do think he's good. I don't think he's better than Faramir at max level, but he is good for someone who wants a good tier 1 commander. And Eowyn is good, but I feel like the horse meta has been gotten down a lot with all the new anti-cav units and all the anti-cavalry units. It's just a lot added to the game. And another thing is, I think Drawlin has fallen down a lot with the power creep, but I do think these 3 commanders hold their places. This is Zane's Mobile. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this video. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know. Thank you guys.